When life hands you lemons, make lemonade. When life hands you the pandemic, buy crypto. That's my motto for this pandemic, and I'm sticking to it. This is the world according to Kyle podcast. How's everybody doing? I myself happen to be feeling good on a Wednesday. AMC is up and rocking and looking like it's ready to go to the moon. I couldn't be happier. I'm free rolling some shares of AMC. Truth be told, it's the first stock that I ever bought. So pretty stoked about that. Currently, has it gone to over 70 yet? I'm recording this on a Wednesday after the markets closed. AMC went up significantly. It doubled, smashed its all-time high. Let's see what it's at right now. I think it closed at like 63 and shot up to almost 70. I don't know if it's quite at 70 yet. 68.18, not too shabby. Wondering if the squeeze is still on. That would be really nice. Yeah, like I said, it's the first stock I ever bought. The meme stock craze kind of captivated me after I seen what the potential was with GME, but I didn't get into GME because I was late to the bandwagon. Quite frankly, I'm not gonna buy it after it's like at 300. So I decided to go on the next one, which was AMC, and for sure could tell it was my first stock that I bought because totally botched it. Bought it at its like absolute peak when in like the January February area when it was when all the when GME was really popping off and the other meme stocks were starting to pop off. I bought this one. I bought it. I bought it at like uh, average cost is 13.50. I bought it at an average cost of 13.50, basically. Which I mean, if I would have waited literally like a week, I could have realized that it was the squeeze wasn't quite ready yet, and then I would have to wait a few months. I could have picked up the stocks at about $5, but hey, you live and you learn. And that's what happens with volatile stocks that are only getting inflated due to are getting inflated artificially, I should say. But hey, man, I couldn't be happy. I couldn't be happier. Feeling good on a Wednesday. Like I said, my stocks in AMC through the roof right now. I already made sure I wasn't going to lose any money off of it. I'm just waiting to see how how high this pup can go. So it's a pretty good sign that it's picked up recently, smashed its all-time highs. We'll see. This is a very delicate situation because of like the potential for Robinhood or legislation or who knows. A lot of variables involved in this, but I think the reason I got into it is because it'd be foolish not to after seeing what happened with GameStop. The one thing I'm like worried about is that if there's like a diluting of what could potentially happen with the AMC stock because it's split between these two other stocks, between GME and BlackBerry and a few others. That maybe maybe the squeeze worked out so well for GME because it was the first one up, and you could already see with AMC the hedge funds were getting wise to knowing when to sell off at the right time so that the number would close below a certain number. I think maybe right now that even though they're woke to what's happening, they kind of maybe can't prevent it. So we'll see what happens, but I think maybe that it's a little more diluted. It's not just everybody all on this one. Like ideally, how it would work out is that people would squeeze, pop the stock, and then move on to the next one because it's already reached a certain point where, paying like even $100 or $200 per share for a stock that's valued at like 20 or less, it's a little bit crazy to do that. So ideally, I think people would just move on to the next one, but there's so much like FOMO, and people want to say they bought this, and trying to beat a dead horse. But we'll see. I'm still optimistic about what can happen with AMC. I guess we'll see how it plays out in the next couple weeks. But hey, I couldn't be more ecstatic sitting here on Wednesday with AMC nearly at $70, and with a few with some free rolling shares. That how high can they go? That's a question. Other reason why I'm feeling good on a Wednesday is that Doug Ford finally located his balls and did what he should have did fucking a year ago, and close the schools so this virus can be somewhat contained. But hey, like there's no need to go on for another couple weeks of spreading potentially new variants of this virus. And for anybody who is, I had severe criticisms of Doug Ford, but I mean I can still say that and not politicize it. I have a problem with people that are politicizing this pandemic and trying to say, oh, it's just this guy, it's just that guy. Trudeau has botched many things, has got many things wrong about this pandemic, and he had a refusal to step up when he could have. He's been hiding a lot more from the people than Doug Ford was. Meanwhile, Ford finally comes to his senses on the schools. But where do you explain all these? Because this is not what you're telling us before. All of a sudden, you're trying to tell us that you don't want it to spread. But okay, well then, why were they opened in the first place? You had a whole summer to prepare for schools, but you went in with the mentality that they were the last to close and the first to open back up. Doesn't that seem problematic based on just the numbers of keeping people inside, fucking spreading the virus to each other? But no. So who's going to answer for the bullshit pseudoscience they're presenting as expertise through this past year that they were using to control people? And you want to argue the kids' mental health? Okay. Is there a way we could retroactively figure out how many tens of thousands of people more died than was necessary just on the sole decision to keep fucking schools open? So you want to argue mental health? How about the physical health, actual health that's based in actual science and not bullshit speculative pseudoscience? How about that? So you're wanting to stand on a high horse and say Doug Ford is to blame for this and trying to isolate and politicize a pandemic. Trudeau kept the borders open. He kept flights from China coming in because he was too afraid to seem like he was racist. I'm just glad somebody stepped up and has shown some form of leadership that doesn't involve having his balls locked in his wife's purse, because that's what it feels like has been happening. We've been ignoring science. We've been ignoring evidence, all for children's mental health. What fucking child do you know that is excited to ever go back to school? You tell me that. It's definitely more of a mental health. It's definitely more negative towards mental health to have children going to this fucking brave new world slash another brick in the wall style of education. It's insane and it shouldn't have happened to begin with, but at least maybe we can keep the case numbers down and tell everybody's vaccinated, and maybe like this year won't be a total write off. Fingers crossed, but here we are. Here we are, anyways. Just get that out of the way. Um, see, we just passed May, and this is supposed to be me putting a bow on the month that just passed. And you know what? I want to create a holiday in May. I got a feeling it might catch on. So the holiday would be called "May the Weebs Not Be With Me, Please, for the Love of God." Now, I noticed people trying to call out someone online who was blasting the "May the Fourth Be With You" day. In my opinion, if you have a right to parade some low level Hollywood crap around and create an entire day around it, then somebody else has a right to blast you for doing that. End of story. And besides, Star Wars is an incredibly overrated movie. The robots act more like people, and the people act more like robots. And it's just not well thought out, and it doesn't belong in the same breath of like legendary sci-fi films. And I would not want to create a day over any of like the great films that I liked either. I think that's a little too much for for a fucking for a movie. Even like say if it was as great as 2001: A Space Odyssey or something, still should I think does a day need to be created around that? I think it's cheesy and it diminishes the movie's impact. But Star Wars is all about action figures and not necessarily about creating good movies, about creating a kind of culture around it in order to sell, more action figures. So, hey, any of you guys go on Twitter and does Twitter ask you if you actually want to read the articles before you share them? Come on. I noticed this for the first time. Does anybody know how long Twitter has been doing this? I just wanted to have this thing on my timeline and go back and read it later. I was busy at work, so I went to share it without actually reading it, going and wanting to go back to it later on my timeline and then pick it up. And Twitter, I think that's a that's an interesting move. Would you actually like to read the article before presenting it as your thoughts? Not bad, not bad. I like the flex Twitter. Now maybe if you could maybe triple, quadruple, six times the character count, then maybe we'll really start cooking on Twitter. Fucking ridiculous when somebody has to tweet thread like 30. Like how unnecessary is that? Until that gets fixed, then Twitter's always on my list. You know what I would love? I would love. I would love to literally jab anybody who refers to getting vaccinated as getting the jab. And it's always these news fucks, these coming up over 60. Are you ready for your jab? And trying to have a euphemism or something for getting a shot and getting vaccinated to make it seem like, you know what, I think you should just get jabbed for suggesting that it's getting a jab. All kinds of things going on. So we ended last TWA2K where I gave some advice or no, I did not give financial advice. That is what happened. I did not give financial advice, and and my advice was to sell Bitcoin and to buy XRP. Now, little did I know the complete market would crash. But if you took my advice, my not advice, and sold your Bitcoin at that time, you would probably be thankful right now because it was the right move. And while you would have took a loss on the XRP, I still think it has more potential to provide a significant return on your investment than Bitcoin. Like as it stands right now, the entire crypto market is crashing because it doesn't have solid leadership. Like it's people see it and they kind of still see it as like this kind of gangster sort of like underground thing. And that's because there needs to be another leader that steps in to the crypto market. And all these fucks like Anthony Popliano and Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor's comments were literally, I'm paraphrasing here, but he's just like, sell your house and buy Bitcoin. He's saying whatever you can do to get as many Bitcoin as you can while it's at like 65,000. He's telling you to fucking sell your house. How good would you be feeling right now if you sold your house and had fucking Bitcoin and then it halves on you? And a funny time right now also for Domino's Pizza to start saying that there's an option for people to receive their paychecks in Bitcoin. Damn, Domino's paying people in something that's actively halving. And I thought minimum wage was bad. Jeez. So that's kind of the state we're in, and I don't want to go too far into the problems with other cryptocurrencies right now. I want this episode. I want to kind of dive into and get into some of my positions in cryptocurrency at the moment. I think we dove into XRP a little bit on the last one. So I'm going to start giving a couple other positions that I do have, and XRP is by far my most owned crypto right now. It's my highest leveraged asset. And even during the crash happened, and I'm still up somewhat on it. I got my XRP at an average cost of, let's say, like 85 cents, 80 cents. I bought every piece of XRP. I bought the dip. I bought the FOMO. I bought the come up. I bought the bears. I bought the bulls. Every single step of the way, there is some form of XRP that I entertained buying. I think I've even bought it at $2. It's just when you when you think it has such a potential, like I don't understand why you would buy Bitcoin at like 50K and leverage most of your assets into that. And when something like we're just waiting for a lawsuit to get wrapped up and we can actually test the true value of XRP, which fingers crossed, hopefully it gets settled in the next couple weeks, or else we're, looking at maybe the end of the year for the lawsuit to be settled. But I'm good either way. I'll buy the dip I'll buy the dip again, or before the lawsuit gets settled, if they actually do not, or no, sorry, not before it gets settled, before a verdict gets reached, if it gets pushed to that point. And I'm comfortable either way, but I don't see like how you don't think this can't bare minimum 10 times this year. Can Bitcoin 10 times this year? I don't think so. I just think it's like it's it's like the Sears right now trying to compete with Amazon. It's just like they're way superior products than Bitcoin, and its value is largely speculative. And the whole digital gold narrative is starting to kind of fall apart too, because the reason gold is a store of value is because like it's a precious metal. Like people actually like to have it. It symbolizes wealth. Like what the like that does like owning just computer code. That's not anything like that's really important. It's just very very superficial. It's a, and it really doesn't. You're not doing anything better by having it. I just think it's a highly volatile asset to be playing around with, and these people who are out there who are over shilling and overconfident in it just because of its price. I mean, crypto is a very strange place, and things can go up very fast, and things can go down very fast. And if you are advising anybody to leverage most of their portfolio into Bitcoin, you are absolutely insane at this point. Seeing how it has absolutely no utility, no use case, and and it's just fucking it's not useful as a store of value besides superficially. Another Bitcoin problem. Why create extreme scarcity when it's not absolutely necessary? Why create an arms race when you have the potential? It's like saying, okay, instead of me getting unlimited internet, I'm gonna pedal for each gigabyte of data. I'm gonna hop on a bike and pedal out each fucking bit of data that I'm allowed to each gigabyte of data I'm allowed to have. So that's that's kind of how I see it. It's kind of seems at this point like it's going to be like the largest pump and dump in the history of humanity. Uh, like gold is a precious metal because it's a finite resource. If you can make an infinite, then why make it finite? Like the other thing people don't understand is that what did we learn from the .com bubble? Besides absolutely nothing, apparently. Well, what we should have learned is that names don't really mean shit. The reason that Google is successful is not because it had a great hype squad, okay? So these people who are insane shills, do not listen to them. Just assume everybody has their own self-interest in mind, which they do, and only listen to facts, research the facts, and you'll come to the same conclusion that you're going to be over leveraged in a very volatile asset, and that's not something that I'm going to plan on doing. So basically, after this lawsuit, we're waiting for XRP in order to see its true value. It's already got a ton of partnerships throughout the world. It's seen as a solution, not as a problem. Right now, what are you going to create an arms race for Bitcoin? What happens if China buys over half of the Bitcoin and is mining them? And what a redundant use of like computer power to just sit there and guess random encryptions until it unlocks. It's just there's so many better assets to have. Like why not have something which has a super high quantity, a super high escrow, but is getting rid of it slowly, or each transaction is getting rid of some, like with SafeMoon. Now, SafeMoon is another coin that I have a lot of, and I just you have to look into the protocols of it and the tokenomics. It's so every time you participate in a transaction, there's a certain amount of SafeMoon burned during that transaction. So even though they have a high amount of escrow, which they do, some is getting burned on literally every transaction. Like here, let me pull up. Okay, so on a 24-hour cycle, it was a cycle of heavy activity for SafeMoon. It's called the burn report. So they burned on this one particular day. They burned 0.033%. So 3%, or sorry, 0.3% of their total they burned in just one day in a 24-hour period. 136.7 billion burned, and it was a particularly high volume day. But so even though they have an insane amount of escrow, that's not going to be like that forever. And just holding Safe Moon, and say 5-10 years down the road when there's significantly less, you're buying right now at a very very cheap rate. So Safe Moon is another position that I am leveraged in. Also, I just picked up this random altcoin recently that has been nice for me. It's called HODL, HODL, which great name, by the way. Love the name. HODL is kind of perfect for like generating kind of like a meme value and a meme culture around it. But the thing that I liked about HODL was not the fact that it was just named HODL, but also its protocol. So, so when it burns, when it after each transaction, it burns a certain amount, and that amount ends up going back to the hodlers, the people who own HODL. So it's just owning HODL gets you more HODL. So let me pull this up. So I had like 3 billion HODL. And so on the 21st, I had 3 billion, 81 million, et cetera, et cetera. The next day, I had 3 billion, 90 million. So it went up 9 million just on a day to day basis, because there was a lot of transactions for this cryptocurrency in particular. The day after, it went up another 8 million, and the day after that, it went up another 8 million. So simply just by doing nothing, and people participating in transactions, I'm getting more HODL back. And to me, that's the interesting thing about crypto, is the protocol. Like you have to pay attention to the protocol and what the coin is actually doing, because there's a lot of really interesting coins out there. And sure, I did the meme coins too, but I wouldn't invest a lot into a meme coin. A meme coin is just more of a crapshoot to see what happens. And to tell you the truth, most of my positions in meme coins are the ones that are not doing well. Doge had a good run for me, and I cashed out and made some money on Doge, but got in, got out. Now, like, what can you really lean on if there's no like tokenomics or no protocol that you think is the reason why this has staying power? So that's kind of what you got to look at when you're getting into crypto, is how is this unique? What can it do? What can it do? I'm also starting to get into staking and DeFi. DeFi, in case you didn't know, is decentralized finance, and you can put your coins up and have people borrow against them and earn interest on your coins while you're doing it. So I'm just starting to get into that. I'll uh, I'll probably have more updates on the next couple episodes about how DeFi is going. I've literally just dipped my toe into it, and so yeah. But I mean, all things considered, even though we just had like a massive crash, it hasn't been that bad, and I'm still up in both of my positions, or not both of my positions, but I'm still up in my major position. I'm up overall, and they got a great future of crypto, which I'll have utility and a a purpose and progression towards integrating crypto, and I have like the asset that is going to be facilitating that, and I got it at pretty cheap. So, would you rather have that as something that has a potential to 100 times, or just be holding on Bitcoin and watching it trade sideways? And even lately, it's not even trading sideways. So maybe it goes to 100K, but even if it goes to 100K, that's like what you're doubling your money. You're risking so much for a potential to double two or three of your Bitcoins. It's just yeah, there's better products to buy on the market right now. And okay, it's going to be a shorter episode. I'm setting this up on Wednesday when I'm after work. So that's going to be it. We're just going to do a quick crypto update and a quick uh, pandemic update, and we're going to get on to the sports report right now. So that was a World According to Kyle podcast for the regular edition. And right now we're going to get into the sport report. So, yeah, the Maple Leafs, pretty bad, pretty bad, and now we're at the stage where everybody's pointing fingers and who's gonna go, who's not gonna go. Yeah, I think it's tough to say. I think there are a couple people who stood out, like during the series, like I thought Jack Campbell gave Toronto something to look forward to going into the future. I think like a couple of the games, like he would like Freddie Anderson. I think would have fared much worse. I think Jack Campbell's a solid option to have at net if they can't find anything else. I think he stood on his head for the most part, and I don't think I would blame much of the loss on him. He did what he could most games to keep his team in it and made some fantastic saves. Maybe everybody wants to overreact right now, and maybe we should just keep it together and try and fill in the pieces, try to budget as much. Like, the thing with hockey is that so much of it is luck based. They did a study on this on the Bleacher Report, and which of the sports were most reliant on luck and which were like most skill. And basketball came up as like the most, like, if you have like the pieces in place, like have the players and pieces in place, that it was the most unlikely to have a underdog upset the team that should be winning. And hockey is just not like that. Hockey has a lot to do with bounces, the way the puck goes. And for instance, the Tavares situation where Tavares and Muzzin got injured. Those are two very important guys. Like, Muzzin is like probably one of Toronto's best defensive players. He really sets the tone and sets the tempo for a game and how it's going to play out. And Tavares he's a guy they shelled out all that money for. And I think it's just overreaction city right now. And if you understand like hockey for what hockey is, and were there better ways that the Leafs could have handled it to get out of the series alive? Yes. Would they have won the Stanley Cup without Tavares and Muzzin? No. Uh, but that doesn't mean that the entire project needs to be blown up. That just means that they got a bout of bad luck, and maybe try to fill the pieces in where you can. If there looks like to be an enticing trade that would greatly benefit the team, explore that. But I just don't think it's worthy of an overreaction. I mean, look at how many times the Capitals have had the core of their roster together without any success. and then one year just boom, randomly won the Stanley Cup. You like that can easily happen to Toronto. But the one thing I would very much criticize them for is just when you're in the playoffs, every little thing counts, and they play pretty loose. Toronto plays pretty loose. They're very offensive. They're a very offensive team, but like stupid mistakes, putting them into the penalty box, and like when you're 0-0 in the third period, the next penalty possibly loses the game. It's an unforced error to make to put your team in a situation where they have to fight off a 2 minute power play with 10 minutes left in the game in a third period in a 0-0 game. Like for the Leafs, what see why I still think they don't have to break up their core is because the issues were immaturity mostly, and like you if you're going to be a team a dynasty, if you're going to be a team that wants to win, you cannot make these unforced errors, these flipping the puck into the benches, tripping into the goaltender, challenging something that clearly isn't going to get turned back and getting another penalty. It's just I really hope the Leafs learn from this. I do not think it's blow it up time. Do I still think they can win the Stanley Cup? Yes, but they like this is like they were getting blasted on Twitter. They were just getting torched on Twitter. This is like Atlanta Falcons level bad. Even it's even worse than the Falcons, because the Falcons at least made it to the Super Bowl and choked there. Leafs can't even make it out of the fucking first round. So, the Falcons should stand in awe at the Leafs' ability to to completely botch things. But like I said, that has more to do with the nature of the game and hockey and the fact that it's more random. Like you see, if a team comes out to bang for a series, like we see Tampa Bay like get upset. So you really have to, have your head on a swivel and come absolutely ready to bang every single game. Otherwise, things can flip fast. Like the least safe lead in all the sports is a 2-goal lead in hockey. Leafs came back in both those games where they got down and they just couldn't fucking close the deal. So what else? What else is on in the world of sports? That was just so much of the talk recently. It's what's bad when American news hosts are going and commenting on like who don't give a fuck about hockey. Like Stephen A. Smith does not give a fuck about hockey. He's out there like ripping on the Leafs, and same thing with like a few other people I've seen on Twitter who are usually football exclusive, saying, okay, who is the college football comparative for how bad the Leafs are, and to say or how bad, not how bad they are, but how bad they keep choking. And quite frankly, I really don't think there's any comparable. And it's just sad because it seems like we're like really wanting to just get a playoff victory, and not like this isn't like a fucking us botching Stanley Cup appearances. We just fucking not getting out of the first round. It's embarrassing. The guys need to understand like where they're fucking up, and hopefully next year is better, because who wants to win this year anyways? Because like, would you even be able to celebrate the Stanley Cup in Toronto if it happened? I don't think so. Save it for next year, guys, for when we can actually go out and celebrate your Stanley Cup. So if that's what they were doing, if that was the Leafs' whole master plan, and then I approve. But you can't figure that it was that they intentionally lost the series to make sure they're up and ready for next year. I'm sure all of them would have liked to get the monkey off of their collective backs by winning one, but Man, oh man, is it tough to be a Leafs fan? And I only been one for a few years now. Can you imagine actually being a fan of this team for a while? I grew up in Windsor, so I was a Detroit fan. But like the thing is that you can't like bad shit. It's the same reason I'm not a Lions, or I wasn't a Lions fan all this time. I'm starting to come around. I'm starting to like some of the moves they're doing now, but I can't just openly like a team that's just so shit. It's just it goes against my nature to cheer a team that just sucks and is going nowhere fast. I can't do that. But there's reason to believe the Leafs can turn a corner. They need to grow up, and they need to grow up fast, and they need to play together more. Another thing I noticed was Matthews taking, like, he was double teamed at like the corner of the net, and there was a guy who was like popping up wide open because of the double team, wide open in the slot. And Matthews just takes a fucking random shot right into Carey Price instead of passing to his guy that's open in the slot. Like, little immature things like that like you like when push comes to shove, you can't play fast and loose with the puck. You have to make the right read. You have to make the proper play that is going to give you the best leverage at an open shot. And like, you just have to make the right plays. You can't just randomly dump it behind your net and then force a chase down. Like, you have to make sure your passes are crisp and on the money, and don't fool around with the puck. And so I think if the Leafs can do these little things right, I know it's sky is falling and we need to sell everybody. No, I don't think that. I think that, but the one thing I would say, which there's the reason why I think that this team is fixable, is that they need to grow up. They're too immature right now, and they need to play together, and they need to play for each other. And they definitely have the talent. There's no reason why they should have lost that series, but they need to make it gel together. And if they can make that happen, then they will be able to compete for a Stanley Cup. Anyways, this is a quick one. I'm gonna call it a podcast. Doing this in the middle of work week. Got caught up on a few things this weekend. Had to get vaccinated, and had a meeting, had over Zoom, had a bunch of things going on. So this is going to be a shorter podcast than usual. Just get out some crypto plays for you guys, and make sure you're betting on the right things, and have a potential to up your money. We'll go into it a little deeper on the next podcast. But so those are a couple more plays for you: Safe Moon and HODL on top of XRP. And hopefully you followed my not financial advice and sold your Bitcoin and bought some XRP, the standard, the future cryptocurrency, the future number one cryptocurrency. And I've seen nothing that would make me disprove that assertion. So if you're reeling right now, if you're over leveraged in some more volatile cryptos, consider making the switch and making plays on some things that have big pop and potential. Which all those three I just listed could be big poppers. That's it for today. Have yourself a wonderful June, and we'll see you at the end of this one. Take care.